Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're completely rethinking how we approach fitness in our own living spaces. Look, if you've ever felt like your home workouts are just this random, frustrating collection of exercises that leave you sweaty but not really progressing, you're absolutely in the right place. Our goal today is a totally wholesome shift in perspective. We're going to stop randomly collecting exercises and start deliberately designing signals for your body. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive right into our roadmap for today. First, challenge over location. Second, the body's movement language. Third, building a routine. And finally, the power of consistency.
Section 1. Challenge, not location. Rethinking the home workout. To escape the frustration of all that chaotic effort, we really need a first principles paradigm shift. And it's this. Your body responds to challenge, not to location. Think about it for a second. Your muscles and your nervous system, they don't have eyes. They have absolutely no idea if you're surrounded by mirrors in some fancy gym or dodging the coffee table in your living room, right? They only understand resistance.
So we need to redefine what we're actually doing here. A home workout is simply a system of forces, load, repetition, range of motion, and effort, organized well enough to force your body to adapt. I absolutely love the analogy from our source material for this. Think of a tiny street-side tea stall. It doesn't need a massive industrial kitchen to make an amazing cup of tea, does it? No way. It just needs the right ingredients, the right heat, and the precise timing. Your home workout is exactly the same. The equipment isn't the magic, the structure is.
Moving on to Section 2, the body's movement language, the grammar of fitness.
Think of it like this. If exercises are the shapes, then movement patterns are the actual grammar. So let's start with the most basic rules, push versus pull. A push is moving something away from you, and a pull is bringing something to you. Pretty simple, right? But these are opposite jobs. Think of a pair of scissors. Both blades absolutely have to work together to cut smoothly. If you only ever do push-ups and you never pull, you're basically building a lopsided system. Over time, that one-sided effort just leads to poor posture and nagging shoulder discomfort. You literally need both blades of the scissors to function properly.
Next up, we have two patterns that are so easily confused. Squatting versus hinging. Squatting emphasizes the legs for upright lowering and rising. Think of a folding chair opening and closing smoothly. Hinging, on the other hand, well, that emphasizes the backside of your body. We're talking glutes and hamstrings. It's bending mostly at the hips, kind of like a swinging car door. Now, they might look super similar from a distance, but the mechanics and the actual muscles they train are completely different.
And then we have our structural foundations. Bracing is your hidden support system, and balance is controlled instability. To borrow another brilliant analogy from our source, bracing is a lot like holding a floppy cloth grocery bag. If you don't hold it firmly, the load shifts everywhere, and it's a mess. Bracing is that firm internal hold that manages the load. And balance, well, isn't about freezing in place like a statue. Actually, it's about making tiny, constant adjustments. It's kind of like walking across the room without spilling a brimming bowl of soup on your favorite rug.
Now, in the real world, real movements combine multiple patterns. Just look at a standard push-up. It's not just a push. It actually requires immense trunk control and bracing to keep your spine from just collapsing toward the floor. You're taking that movement grammar we just talked about and combining it to form a complex, functional shape.
So here we have the 6 foundational words of your movement language: push, pull, squat, hinge, brace, and balance. Whether you're pushing a heavy door or stepping over some uneven ground, your body is using these exact patterns. Once you recognize these 6 jobs, you can pretty much understand and deconstruct any exercise on the planet.
All right, Section 3, building a simple routine, writing the sentence.
So, now that we know the words, how do we actually combine them into a sentence? Well, a simple routine actively balances these jobs. Think about cooking a meal. If you only dump salt into the pan, sure, the flavor is going to be intense, but it definitely won't be a complete dish. A great meal needs a base, a protein, some spice, and texture. A home routine works exactly the same way. It needs the right ingredients in the right proportions. Otherwise, it's just intense, but totally unbalanced.
The crucial thing to remember here is that order really matters. You want to follow a logical sequence. Step 1, technical or demanding movements. Step 2, simpler accessory movements. And Step 3, core or stability work. Why this specific order? Well, imagine trying to write a neat, beautiful letter right after shaking a heavy bottle for 10 minutes. Your hand would be totally exhausted, and your fine motor control would be gone.
You always want to do your hardest, most technical work first, right when your body and your nervous system are totally fresh.
When you build a routine correctly, the session feels organized. It doesn't feel chaotic. And most importantly, you should always finish feeling worked, not wrecked. Training at home isn't about proving you can suffer or completely destroy yourself. Not at all. It's simply about sending a clear, consistent signal to your body so that it can adapt and grow stronger.
Which brings us to Section 4, the power of consistency, turning effort into adaptation.
This is the part where your new routine transforms into an ongoing, continuous conversation with your body. Because here is the reality of fitness. A single, super hard session is just one message. But a routine? A routine is a pattern of messages, and consistency absolutely beats novelty every single time. Your body doesn't miraculously change just because you surprised it with one completely random chaotic workout. It changes because it keeps receiving the exact same clear, organized message week after week.
So how does that progress actually show up? Honestly, it's often not some dramatic overnight transformation, but it is undeniable. Maybe a movement suddenly feels a little smoother. Maybe you can handle a little more load, but with the exact same level of control. Or maybe you just notice your form is staying perfectly clean even when you're starting to get really tired. That right there, that is what real progress looks like from the inside out.
And that brings us to the ultimate identity shift, which is really the wholesome core of this entire explainer. You no longer need to think like someone just randomly collecting exercises off the internet. You can start thinking like someone who is deliberately designing signals. Let me tell you, once you grasp this underlying logic, every bit of effort you put in starts to feel incredibly purposeful. It's a total game changer.
So I'm going to leave you with this question for your very next workout. What pattern, what dose, and what order will create your clearest training signal? You now have the tools, the grammar, and the first principles understanding to answer exactly that. It's time to stop guessing and start designing. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I seriously can't wait for you to apply this to your own routine.